Welcome to the Wellness Amazon podcast. This is a podcast for highly sensitive people, people that have high intuition and are just in tune with themselves and the outer world. Come and listen to multiple different high spectrum subjects and just peek behind the curtain. But I warn you, once you peek behind the curtain, you can never go back. Have fun. Enjoy. Welcome to another episode of the Wellness Amazon podcast. It's just me today. Yes, a solo episode. Has been a while. Today I wanted to talk about a subject, and I am not there's no affiliation of me and this book or this method or whatever, but I want to talk about it because number one, I think it is a very important thing in relationships. And no, not just you and a spouse or a life partner, but also in friendship, between children, if you're an auntie or an uncle, or, any type of relationship with people. And it is very important and it is going to be very helpful, but also how this could be a little bit different with HSPs in your life, so highly sensitive persons. If you're new to this and this is the first one you were tuning in and you were like, what is an HSP? Go back to like episode 1, 2, and 3 and all of the above. So today we're talking about the 5 love languages. And yes, this is the book. There's many books out there. This is like the original one because the first one came out just for relationships, and then there was with children, with teens, with friendships, with at work. There's all of these things where people, and I think Gary Chapman, who was the original author of this, just realized that these love languages they're just a part of us. And that is why it doesn't just pertain to relationships in the classical term, right? So as you see, I have this. It is very, very well loved and used. It's funny, I took it out of my bookcase again and I found all these bookmarks in it. Because yes, I have worked with this, and the first touch point I have had with the 5 love languages was when my spouse and I were in marriage counseling, because we have an amazing relationship now, but that has not always been the case. Not saying our relationship hasn't been always amazing, but it needed work. And if you are finding yourself in a relationship, no matter if this is with your life partner or a friend or whatever, and something is off, it's completely normal. People are complicated. We are complicated beings. We usually have a very deep understanding or we're trying to have a very deep understanding of life and ourselves. And there's a lot of stuff going on. And especially if you throw in an HSP, I just believe that it can be even more complicated. Not complicated, but maybe a little bit tricky. Today, we're going to talk about all of the love languages and how, especially for a highly sensitive person, this might look a little bit not different, but I'm just going to explain on how, if you are an HSP, how giving a love language to someone that's not your own, or if you want to give it to the HSP, there can be some nuances there that might be helpful for you. So if your partner is an HSP or you're the HSP and you're listening to this might be helpful. And I hope it is helpful for you. So let's just dive right in. So the 5 love languages, yes, there's 5. Number 1 is acts of service. I am not going in a particular order, by the way, guys. It's just me rattling off, right? Acts of service, words of affirmation, it is gift, it is quality time, and physical touch. Okay, those are the 5 core love languages. Now going into each of them, act of service. My personal favorite. This is just, again, I'm going to give you some examples of how this looks like for me. Doesn't have to be you. Everybody's love language is different. You usually have one primary one and then a secondary one, and those 2 are your top ones. Sometimes it's a little bit equally spread. Sometimes you have one that's just the absolute runner up. Sometimes you have some that don't pertain to you at all, right? Usually there's a little bit, like a smaller percentage of something somewhere. But like for me, receiving gifts, I literally have 0% when I do the test. Side note, you can go online, you can do the test, you can buy the book, whatever floats your boat, right? It's definitely, I think, a good tool, and I would highly recommend you do that. So again, receiving gifts, I have 0% in my results of my test, and I have redone this test because here's the ticker. Love languages can change over time. However, I do believe, and this is my personal belief, you do not have to resonate with this. I do believe that love languages maybe get uncovered, or also they get changed with outside signals. So I will get into this when we talk about the different love languages and how it changed for me. So my number one, for example, is acts of service. Acts of service is 40% of my entire profile. So it's my absolute number one, right? Um, that is how I feel loved with an act of service, but that's also how I give love. And that is very important to remember throughout this episode. Your number one love language is usually how you show love and how you also feel love. This is so when you receive this love through the same love language, you will feel loved more or deeper than when someone is trying to show you their love through a love language that might not be your number one, two, or three. Okay. So that's where it gets a little tricky. So acts of service can be, I mean, it's very self-explaining. They did a great job naming them. Acts of service is just what it sounds like. It is something you do for someone. That can be a household chore. That can be a surprise, like, hey, I washed your car. That can be, you are picking up dinner, you're taking something off somebody else's plate, essentially. And it could be that you show your love like this all day for someone. You do the majority of this and you do that, and you're just in your flow, but you also love to do it because you love to be of service. That is what you love. You love that about yourself. You love to give that way. And you also love to receive it that way. When someone does something for you, especially without being asked, it touches you very deeply, and it makes you feel all warm and fuzzy inside. Yes, it touches your heart. That's what's happening. So chances are that's your jam. Yeah, acts of service is probably for you. The second one is physical touch. Again, I'm just reading off because this is my second one. And physical touch is, just like it sounds. It's cuddling, it's hugging, it can be, being intimate, it can be holding hands, it can be just having your arms around someone. It just some sort of physical connection. There needs to be some sort of contact with the other person. Then we have quality time. Quality time, again, just like it sounds, it's you are clearing your calendar, you're spending time with someone. And that doesn't mean like, I'm going to chit chat for you for 5 minutes and then I'm going to go scrolling back on my phone. No, it is putting your phone aside, giving them attention or doing things with them, like, oh, it can be something very mundane. Oh, you're going to the grocery store? I'll go with you. I just want to spend time with you. The next one is words of affirmation. Again, just like it sounds, you praise them, you tell them you love them, you tell them how important they are to you, how proud you are. That's a big one. How beautiful they are. It can be anything. It can be more, elaborate. It can be a very short sentence. It can just be those three magical words, but it is expressing with words on what you feel for the other person. And the last one is receiving gifts. And again, that does not have to be very luxurious. I mean, it can, you could be wanting to give someone a trip to Hawaii, or it could be that you just you found a rock on your walk and it's a heart-shaped rock and you thought, oh gosh, this is perfect for XYZ, and you pick it up and you bring it to them. So it's not about the money part, it's about the thought that you put into picking up that particular item for that person and then giving it to them. And you also feel that way when someone else does that for you. Okay. So again, when I was talking about how love languages can change over time, I think that comes because I think especially HSPs can see that. Sometimes they change with age and life circumstances. And we're going to talk more about not so much the life circumstances, but we're going to talk more about the HSP part and why that is so important to know. So love languages sometimes with HSPs can be a little bit tricky because, again, we have talked about this. They are easily overstimulated and they are easily overwhelmed with information and just smells, sounds, sights, whatever pertains all of your senses, even with touch. So that is where it gets a little bit tricky, and that can influence our love languages. So I give you an example. When my children were younger, so I have children, I am married, right? It was hard for me to have physical touch, not in the sense of, constantly don't touch me, but it was because I was always touched by little hands. And I know a lot of moms will understand this, or a lot of caregivers, or whoever has small children in their life, okay, that you easily get overstimulated by touch and you just don't want to be touched anymore. And that can then go and translate into, with your partner or with friends. Not that friends so much are touchy-feely with you, it's probably more like your partner, but it can translate into the physical touch love language. And when you are in that time of your life, and this can also happen with other stimuli, it doesn't necessarily have to be little kids touching you. It could be that just something else is overstimulating you and you cannot handle that touch anymore. My experience is that with a lot of HSPs, sound and touch is the first one to go. So sound and touch is the first one that they're trying to shut off. Doesn't have to be the case for you, but it could be. And when I did the test back then in that phase of my life, physical touch was not in the top 3 of my love languages. It was not, which was very hard because my spouse, that was number 1. Okay. Now kids are older. Life has drastically changed. It's my number 2. I love to cuddle now. I love to hold hands. I love to just be close. I need that hug. I need the dopamine hug and the serotonin and all the wonderful hormones that hugs produce, right? I need it. I want it. Matter of fact, when we're on the couch and he doesn't touch me, I look at him and I go, why are you not touching me? And I mean, it's still his love language too. So he immediately gets on it, right? Which is wonderful. But it is, it's also a blessing really to have that, that parallel between the two of us, that it's his first one and my second one. So that's a lot closer than it was, because when you have a love language and that's the opposite of somebody else's, and you are in some sort of formal relationship, right? It's going to be difficult because your love tank that you have, it's like imagine it like a battery, right? Isn't getting filled because you don't feel loved necessarily, because it's like you're both speaking a different language. So let's say there's this gifts is their love language and yours is totally not. That's like last one on the list. They are trying to always give you something to show them they love you, but you don't really feel loved that way because that's not the language you speak. Now it's getting difficult because when your tank or your battery starts to go down, you also can't give them love in their language because now it's alien for you to do gifts because you don't do that. That's just not how you speak. That's not how you show love, but that's how that person wants to receive love too. So now we're getting into the tricky part where you have to understand how to speak each other's language. And for an HSP, that can even be harder because the other person's love language, again, might be that physical touch. And you are just in a phase where you're like, I don't want to be touched right now. And I can't touch you for that matter. Now the other person is going to feel depleted too. That's where, again, and if you have listened to any of the other episodes before, you will know what I'm going to say. It's communication that comes in. You have to tell them, hey, my battery is low right now. Or I'm overstimulated or something happened. I can't really touch you right now, but I love you. And let me just try to decompress a little bit and then let's try that again because I know that you need that for your love tank. We actually, my spouse and I, we had conversations just like that in marriage counseling where we just had to figure out that was the first time that someone brought this up and said, well, you just speak two different languages. You do not feel loved and appreciated by the other person because the other person is showing it to you in a way that you don't understand. That doesn't mean that they don't. They're actually trying to show it to you, but you don't hear them. It's literally like someone is speaking Chinese and the other person is, I don't know, speaking Hebrew, and they don't understand each other at all. It's very difficult. So you have to communicate. You have to understand yourself and the other person. In a group, it's even better because that also is sometimes the key to understand group dynamics. There's always people that are connecting a little bit better than with others. Of course, there's a lot of other things that play a factor in that. But a lot of times it's these love languages because they feel appreciated by someone because they speak their same language. It's very interesting once you dive into it. So with acts of service, I give you an example, has always been my number one, has never changed. It's just what I do. I nurture, I do things, I will cook a meal for you. I want to do things for you, right? I want to take things off your plate. I don't want you to feel stressed because of me. Things like that. And when someone else does that for me, especially without being asked, I feel deeply seen, first of all, which is a human's greatest desire, to be seen as a whole person, right? And it really touches my heart. So I give you an example. A couple of years ago, a friend of ours was living with us in transition between jobs and moving. So we said, just come live with us. It's fine. And one day I come home and I look at my car and I see that the car has been completely detailed, washed from the outside, washed from the inside. I mean, that thing sparkles in the sunlight. And I thought, what happened? Who did this? And then our friend tells me, oh yeah, I did that today for you. I thought it would be nice for you, I just want to say thank you that I can stay here. And I thought, why just take this off your plate, get your car washed. I was working in my office, and I had no idea that my car was even gone. I felt so appreciated and so loved in that moment. I thought this is the greatest gift ever. And it was my birthday, greatest birthday gift ever. I really love when someone does something for me. So not only that I don't have to do it, but also it's maybe something that I never even mentioned or asked for. That is such a nice thing to do. And it can be something very small. It can be something I consider the car washing a bit of a big thing, actually. And it's just a nice thing. When we have HSP and you do acts of service, and acts of service is their jam, it's their love language, it is a wonderful thing to step in and also look at how can I protect them from something that's overstimulating. So, for example, your partner is an HSP or friend or whatever, and you want to do an act of service. They are probably, and you can even ask, are they overstimulated with picking up an errand? Grocery shopping can be a nightmare. Vacuuming, because the vacuum is loud and maybe they don't have noise canceling headphones. Going to the car wash because there's, again, so many things happening. whatever they're dreading something probably because it's just too much for them. There's too much stimulation going on, noise, feelings. This is why I hate clothes shopping, because I, I just it's not fun. So if someone steps in and says, I will take that, I will do you a favor, I will do that for you, and I also will make your day better with this, because I'm taking that stimulation away from you. I'm shielding you from that with doing that thing. Fabulous. You now have total brownie points there. And you made the other person feel loved, heard, seen, understood. They feel appreciated. And you pave the way for the rest of the day or the rest of the night or maybe even the rest of the week, because you canceled out something that would usually deplete them on a regular basis. And again, it's those day-to-day tasks that can be very daunting. Or if someone says, I can hear this light bulb, or I can hear an outlet, or this noise really bothers me from the water heater or whatever, I don't know, right? And you come up with a cool idea to solve this and you do that for them. Huge act of service, and a service to their person. It's just like, you don't just do that because you're doing a nice thing. It has so much weight on it. Okay, next one. Physical touch. Again, like I said, and a lot of times, not always, but a lot of times, sound and touch are the first things that shut down. It's so complicated because it really depends also how your brain works. But a lot of times when people are overstimulated, they are getting even more sensitive to sound and more sensitive to touch, just because we are, I don't know, maybe like desensitized of the sight, because we see so much every day that the other ones are just overly sensitive. And again, that could be different for anyone. So physical touch is when it really comes in with communication. Yes, I'm going to say that a lot. Where if you are the HSP and someone else needs that physical touch, again, you need to communicate. But also, if you are an HSP who usually loves physical touch, you also need to communicate about, hey, this is usually my default love language, but just not right now. Just not right now. So there's that one is a little bit more tricky, I think, because it can fluctuate so much that it can also be changing the touch, right? If someone wants to rub your arm and you're like, not right now, okay, then ask, how can we do the physical touch on a different location at a different time? So maybe when we are in a safe space, when we're home in a safe space and it is not loud anymore, there is no more loud whatever is all all that stimulation is dying down, because we really make our home. And if you haven't done that yet and you're an HSP, I urge you to make your home your safe space. Really get rid of all the noises. Make it cozy and be in that safe space, and then decide, okay, now can we have a 10-second serotonin boosting hug, just holding you, or we breathe together. You can even hover over someone, just hover, don't touch, just hover and say, we're feeling the closeness and we're breathing together. That is a connection. That is now a physical connection without touching. Things like that, right? They work beautifully. And that will also maybe get the other person out of that chaos in their head and out of all of this information flow that is coming on them, and will help to really open them up again for all of their senses. The other one, quality time. This is interesting because an HSP is just so much more in tune and attentive. If you want to give quality time to an HSP, cannot, and I repeat, you cannot under any circumstances get away with not being in the moment. They will know. They will know. They will see it on your face. They will see it on your body language, micro muscle movements. They will, things you think you can hide. No, you cannot. The HSP will know if you're looking at the clock, if you're looking at your phone, at your smartwatch, at whatever it is. If it's the squirrel outside you see through the window, just a split second, they will know. And they will probably feel like you are not paying attention. So when you notice that you do that, that you have a hard time focusing on this person and focusing on what they're saying, just be open about it and say, I'm really, really trying to be a better listener. Maybe Google some stuff too. How to do active listening. Active listening is a wonderful thing. It is, you nodding, going, asking questions. Oh, hold on. What did she say to you? Oh, okay. Well, so you understand the story and the other person knows that you're actually trying to keep up and understand what they're telling you. And quality time sometimes doesn't have to be talking. It could be watching a movie together. But if you watch a movie together that you picked out together and one person is on their phone, the other person is going to know. If it's an HSP, they might notice that way earlier than anybody else. Also, with quality time, if one is an HSP and one is not, and you both want to spend quality time together, even if that's both of your love language, doesn't necessarily have to mean that quality time is the same thing for you. So again, I'm going to say the magic word, communicate. Yeah, you're right. You got it. Communicate about what is your idea of quality time, because it could be that someone's idea of quality time is, oh, I want to go out with you in nature, do a special date, or do like fun things together and just like be in the moment. And for the next person, it's like, yeah, I want to be in the moment, but I don't want to do any of those grand things. I just want you to hang out with me on the couch. And sometimes it's a mixture of both. So talk about, what does your quality time look like? For me, quality time is any time spent with my husband, as long as he's in the moment with me. And for him, this is where we overlap as well. He just wants to be with me. And this could be things like, I'm going to go grocery shopping with you. I'm just going to go with you. Now, I joke, and please don't take this the wrong way. He thinks it's hilarious. I think it's hilarious. We're joking. This is a joke, okay? I call him my emotional support animal. Yes. Because when I have to go grocery shopping, he will say, I will go with you. And I say, oh, is that not boring for you? He goes, I don't care. I just want to be with you. I, on the other hand, am so grateful that he is going grocery shopping with me. For him, it's like, whatever. I just want to spend time with my wife. For me, it is my anchor. And again, my actual emotional support, who now goes with me grocery shopping because I hate it, but I do it because I want to have some sort of exposure therapy. I have grocery delivery a lot, but I still want to go out of the house every once in a while. It is a huge relief when he goes with me, just because he's there. Just because he's there, and I can tell him when I get overwhelmed, or when this is something that I do, and it's a small, tiny thing, and I do it a lot. I will leave him with the cart in the beginning of an aisle, and I say, stay here, I'll be back. And I go without the cart, without my purse, without anything, because that's now all with him. And I just go to the other, whatever side or the end of the aisle, pick up the item that I need, and I come back. That small thing alone, and if you're not an HSP, you might not understand this, but it is such a huge thing for me to do, because I left all of that, what pulls me down, what is hard to navigate, push the cart, to have the cart, and to have my phone and my purse and all of those things. It just makes it a little bit easier to freely go, just me, through that aisle. I can easily navigate through people. I don't need to say things like, excuse me, or, I know it sounds like the weirdest thing, but I know a lot of you will understand, and you might do that too. Going grocery shopping together for us is spending quality time together. We have quality time every night at dinner. There is no phones on the table. We will talk with the children. We will make sure that we all understand what is happening in our little universe that we might not be sharing. We all live together, but we don't spend every living minute of it. And that shapes the world we live in, right? So we need to communicate with each other. And quality time can be a wonderful thing for that. Again, if quality time is, I need to shut off my brain and I'm neither watching a stupid show, but I want you to be with me. Cool, right? That's, again, HSPs do that a lot. And sometimes it's also doom scrolling on your phone that just lets you get out of that chaos in your head and into this social media thing. Not saying that's the most healthy thing, but it can just give you a break. It can just give your brain a break. Reading a book. Sometimes I cannot watch TV and I need to look at some sort of paper, and not at a blue screen. I will do it, but I will do it next to my husband who's watching a show. I might have headphones in, but we're still kind of together. We're not doing it in separate rooms. If you do need to do it in separate rooms, no problem. That's okay too. Sometimes you need to have that little bit of distance to have your own aura and just to sit in your own aura and kind of like cleanse it a little bit. And then you can be together again. So again, communicate about quality time, what that looks like and what maybe that HSP needs. Because if your quality time looks like, oh, I want to go to the theme park today and ride all the roller coasters. There's going to be hundreds of thousands of people. Just sounds so much fun. And your HSP partner or friend goes, what? No. Don't do that to them. If you want to do that to them, and if you really want to have that experience with them, communicate way in advance. Way in advance. It helps HSPs so much when we can emotionally and mentally prepare ourselves for a situation way in advance. Checking the layout, checking where we're going to go, how this is going to look like, and how long are we going to stay, and things like this, right? Spontaneous idea to go to, again, a huge theme park like today, and they didn't know about it before, might not be the best idea. But again, communicate about it. It also depends on their threshold, right? Have they had a hard week, or had they had 2 smooth weeks that were so good that they're like, you know what? I think I can do it. Maybe not for 8 hours, but I think I can do it for 2 or 3. How does that feel for you? Cool. Good to go. Again, communicate. Words of affirmation. So the last 2, words of affirmation and gifts, are going to be a little bit tricky. Words of affirmation are fantastic. However, HSPs are they just know when you're sincere, so you always have to be honest. And when they tell you words of affirmation, it's probably going to be a little bit deeper than the typical I love you or you look great or whatever. Because they notice something. When they give compliments, HSPs usually give very detailed compliments because they notice everything. For example, this necklace is new. If you are not watching the video, if you're just listening, it's a new necklace with little tiny turquoise gemstone beads. So I would now say, instead of saying, oh, I like your necklace. Oh, thanks. I would say, oh, wow. I really like your necklace. I love that all the beads have a different color. And is that turquoise? Oh yeah, that's good for your throat. And stuff like that, right? It just, sometimes I go off on a tangent, but I notice those details and I want to make sure that the person knows why I like it. Because if I tell them why I like it so much, I always feel like it makes it more honest and they know that I really do love it. And I really want them to know how sincere I am about it. And, I can say, oh, I like your necklace, about any necklace. But if I tell them why I really like the necklace, it makes it a little different. That is also how they perceive the words of affirmation. So if you tell them, I love you 15 times a day, that is great, but you need to put a little bit more flavor in it. I love you because Your smile just light up. I get so happy when you smile. You light up the room, right? Can you see the difference? Okay. They feed on poetry and creativity. And don't worry if you say, "Oh, I'm not creative." Just go inside of you and ask yourself, "Why do I love that person?" There's probably over 100 reasons why you love that person. Tell them. Tell them, you know, tell them, I am so proud of you because XYZ, right? Don't say, I'm proud of you. Oh, are you? For what? Because literally, I have caught myself say these things. Oh, yeah? Well, why? Because I want to know. Because I need to understand what's going on in your brain and I want to know how you see me. So, again, HSPs are more detailed in their words of affirmation. They also do it in front of others if they feel comfortable. There's a lot of HSPs are shy. So don't worry if that doesn't happen. If you only feel appreciated when somebody praises you in front of other people, that's not their fault. They just need to warm up, and they might do that in front of closer friends and a closer circle. Um, Probably not at the big party where they only know 10% of the people there. The other thing is, again, when you tell them words of affirmation, always add a little bit of where that's coming from, how you feel about them, maybe why you're telling them that, because it gives a little bit of a different flavor. The more poetic it is, the more we thrive on deep conversations. It doesn't have to be poetry in the sense of it has to be cheesy. I'm not asking you to recite The Notebook here, which, by the way, I do not like the movie. People always think I'm romantic. That's too cheesy, okay? It's more seeing you as a whole is what they crave more than maybe other people, being seen as a whole. So be a little bit more, I would say, in depth with your words of affirmations, if that makes sense. Okay. Now, this is my favorite. Okay. Even though it is not on my list at all, it's my favorite to talk about because it is complicated. And I know so many people that have asked about gifts. Okay. Because gifts, this is such a wide range. Again, like I said, it could be the rock you found on the road that reminded you of that person, or the trip to Hawaii in your private jet. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It's usually about the thought behind it. HSPs, again, most of the time. Everything here that I'm stating today is most of the time. Doesn't we're all unique, doesn't fit to everybody. Most of the time, HSPs have a, how do I say that? Eclectic taste. Okay. People all the time. And when I say people, I'm talking about the closest people I have, people that are extremely close to me. Think they have figured me out, kind of, so to say, on what my style is. Nope. It is not that it changes it does, not on a daily basis, but it does over time. I have phases that I go through. I don't even say that my style changes because something I liked 10 years ago, I might like again tomorrow. But it's very hard to pinpoint with things, jewelry, clothes, patterns, colors. You could say, I love polka dots. And then you buy something with polka dots and you're like, she likes polka dots. I'm going to be on it. And you hand it to me and I go, no. So it's very hard to pinpoint. And I know that about myself. I am horrible to shop for. Horrible. I tell people all the time, I will give you an idea or give me a gift card or something that I can consume. Those are my favorite gifts. Those are my favorite gifts. You bring me a good bottle of olive oil, love it. Absolutely love it. No questions asked. Don't care what it looks like. Love that it's a flavor and I can use it. And here's the ticker. I can now use it to create an act of service because I can cook with it for someone else. So now we're translating that thing that is not my love language into my love language, which is beautiful, right? And of course, that's not everybody's jam. Not everybody's going to be happy about a bottle of olive oil. But what I'm trying to say is, or, oh, a gift, like a gift card for somebody coming and cleaning my house. Now it's an act of service. Now, you know what I'm saying? It turns into something different. So that it can be a beautiful thing. Or somebody who loves physical touch, but your jam is gift giving, right? Can you give them a lotion bar that's like a massage lotion bar, or something that is good for their skin, or whatever that has something to do with touch? It's like you tweak those things a little bit. So gift giving is actually a very flexible love language. You just need to figure out how the person ticks that wants to receive it. Because if you give it and you want to receive it, you know how you tick already. But you don't know how somebody else likes to do that. You figure it out over time. But again, communication is the key here. It's just that HSPs most of the time they love things that are eclectic, very aesthetically pleasing, and they do have a usual very more in-depth taste. I don't even know if that's the right word, but they love things that are maybe a little bit unusual. If you have the choice between something that is handmade that you find at a farmer's market or somewhere at a special event versus something that comes from some grocery store, the chances are they're probably going to love the handmade one a little bit more, just because there's a story behind it. There's a certain energy around this item. It's just different. And always tell them, when you give a gift to an HSP, always tell them why you're giving it to them. I'm giving this to you because I saw this at the farmer's market, and it was this lady that does this stuff all by hand, and I just felt that this would be perfect for you because you love jewelry and you can put it in that bowl or whatever. Do you see what I mean? Give a story. Give a story behind your gift and your thought process around it. It will make it so much sweeter, because the gift giving love language is never really about the item. It's always about the thought behind the item. Why did she pick that up and want to give it to them? That's what really translates the love in that love language. Now, there's people that just love to have things, little trinkets, and give me, some people might like more luxurious gifts. But that's also a safety, a little bit like, I'm safe with you. You're giving me gifts. Maybe there's a financial stability there or whatever. So there, of course, there's a little bit of differences here, but it's usually there's more behind the gift giving than just the item that's there. As you have probably figured out while I was talking about all of those, that there is you can bridge connections between all of these love languages and see how that feels for the other person and how it feels for you. Because I'm saying this because at the end of the day, if you are the HSP and you're giving, you're translating, you're trying to show the other person you love them in their love language, and it might not be your own, or you're having a really rough day. If you deplete yourself completely, it is not doing you or the person a favor at all whatsoever. So again, that's where you have to communicate that you cannot give this particular thing right now. You need to do baby steps, and you need to keep communicating about, and this can be really hard for HSPs too. So you, as the non-HSP, might have to help here a little bit. For example, when we talk about gift giving, you might have to ask, do you really like it? If you don't like it, it's okay. You can tell me, so that you can learn that, oh, the bowl, just because there was polka dots on it, wasn't the thing, or whatever, right? It's radical honesty is such an amazing thing to strengthen any relationship. And we don't do it enough. And this is where love languages also can't really shape and support each other if we are not very honest with each other. That really is a problem. So be honest with each other, communicate a lot about it, and see how you can connect your different love languages. And make sure, that's the other thing I want to talk about. When you and the other person have a different love language and you go and you try to give, but you're not receiving it in your language, you're going to feel depleted. Or the other way around, right? You're receiving it from someone who's really trying hard and you're receiving it in your language, but you're not giving it to them in their language. They are going to feel depleted. And we don't want depleted at all. Not them, not us, whatever. I'm sorry that I'm overusing the word, but there is just this one answer, and that's communication. You have to tell them, I feel a little depleted because today I didn't feel like you were showing me that you love me in the way that I actually feel loved. And that can happen. And most of the time, nobody does this in a malicious way or on purpose, but sometimes it just gets away from us because again, our love languages, it's almost like they're our mother tongue. And that's just our default. That's just how we speak. And this is how we show love because this is how we feel loved, right? And sometimes we need a little help to get a reminder that, oh, that's not how the other person feels like. Example, words of affirmation, not my thing. Not my thing at all. I just forget to tell you that I'm proud of you or how much I love you or why I love you or I'm getting better about like compliments, which also takes courage to say that for some reason. I don't know why I can't. That's a whole nother subject. But I have to actively remind myself to say, hey, I love you. I love you, or you did great job, or I'm so proud of you. I'm so thankful that you're here. Things like this because I forget. So everybody out there who knows me, if I have forgotten to say thank you or how much you mean to me I don't know, lately, I am so sorry because it's not there. That's not, I don't know. I probably do stuff for you in a heartbeat because, yeah, if you call me at 3 o'clock in the morning and say, you got to pick me up at the airport or whatever, I will. I will. I might blink an eye just to wake up. You know what I mean? Just like more of a doer there. I just like to nurture and nourish and do things for you and make sure you're okay. And I don't know. And then physical touch. Yeah. I am now, physical touch is my second language when it used to be my number 4, almost last one. And now these things change. Gifts were always my last one. If you never give me a gift in my life, I will not be mad at all. I will not see this at all whatsoever as a negative thing. I will probably not even notice. Okay. I'm just more about let me do stuff for you. You do things for me. We're spending quality time with each other, and I'm gonna give you a big ass hug. I'm gonna give you a hug. Okay. We can all dip into those, but some of those might just not come natural to us. And the biggest thing with HSP is, like I said, it depends on which situation they are. Are they overstimulated already? Are they depleted already from something? And what kind of environment are they? What do they think is good with, things like quality time and their style and how that goes with their what they would like on with things goes into the depth of their personality, which is it's usually deep. They like deep thoughts, they like philosophical conversations, and that reflects in their style and preferences of material things. So I hope this was helpful for you today. If you have any questions, do not hesitate to comment under this episode at all. And again, this translates to relationships with your children, with your family, with friends, with coworkers, with any type of group. It really is very, very helpful. I can only really, suggest you do that test online, and maybe you have somebody else doing the test where you maybe have a suspicion that, I think we have the same love language here, or I think we do not. So whatever it is, it really helps to fill up the other person's love tank and make sure that they can also fill up yours. Because also if an HSP feels very deeply seen and loved, their thresholds gets a little bit bigger, right? They can handle a little bit more stimulation, just because they feel loved, right? And it strengthens their self-worth as well. So, all right, y'all. I hope you have a fantastic day and this helped you. Thank you so much for tuning in. Leave a comment and also rate it with the 5 stars or whatever, how many stars you want to give it. And I'll see you next week. Thank you so much for being here with me today. I hope you enjoyed. You can give it a thumbs up. You can give it a review. You can share it with somebody you think might resonate with this. Have a great day. See you next time.